Once upon a time, in the sunny town of Harmony Glade, lived 6-year-old twins named Lily and Leo. They weren't just any twins, they were known throughout their neighborhood for their bright smiles, boundless energy, and a knack for solving problems, even really tricky ones. While other kids were busy trading stickers or building forts, Lily and Leo were often found deep in thought, pondering the world around them. They had an insatiable curiosity and a unique way of looking at things. Harmony Glade was generally a peaceful place, but like any community, it had its share of disagreements. One such disagreement had landed in the local courthouse, a grand old building with tall pillars that always seemed a little intimidating. The case involved a squabble between neighbors, something Lily and Leo couldn't quite wrap their heads around at first. But as they learned more, they knew they had to help. This particular day in court was unusually busy. The air buzzed with anticipation as people filed into the courtroom. Whispers filled the room, bouncing off the high ceilings and echoing through the hallowed space. Today was the day Mr. Grumbles and Mrs. Sunshine would present their case before Judge Thompson. Little did everyone know, this ordinary day would soon become extraordinary, all thanks to the brilliance of two 6-year-old twins. The heart of the matter was a disagreement between Mr. Grumbles, a man known for his perpetually sour expression and love of perfectly manicured lawns, and Mrs. Sunshine, a kind woman whose garden overflowed with vibrant flowers and buzzing bees. Mr. Grumbles claimed that Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers had grown too tall, casting a shadow over his prized petunias and depriving them of the sunlight they needed to thrive. He insisted that the sunflowers were a nuisance, an eyesore, and a blatant disregard for neighborhood etiquette. He demanded that Mrs. Sunshine trim them down to a reasonable height or, better yet, remove them altogether. Mrs. Sunshine, on the other hand, argued that her sunflowers brought joy to the neighborhood, attracted beneficial insects, and harmed no one. She refused to cut them down, believing they were a symbol of happiness and natural beauty. The dispute escalated, fueled by angry letters and passive-aggressive lawn decorations, until it finally landed in Judge Thompson's courtroom. Mr. Grumbles, armed with photographs and a meticulously crafted argument, seemed confident in his victory. Mrs. Sunshine, however, appeared worried and disheartened. She couldn't afford a fancy lawyer, and the thought of losing her beloved sunflowers filled her with sadness. It was the sadness that caught the attention of Lily and Leo. Lily, with her bright, inquisitive eyes, tugged on Leo's sleeve. "Look at Mrs. Sunshine," she whispered, her voice filled with concern. "She looks so sad." Leo, equally perceptive, nodded in agreement. He noticed the way Mrs. Sunshine's shoulders slumped and the faint tremor in her hands. It was clear she was deeply worried about the outcome of the trial. They watched as Mr. Grumbles, with a self-satisfied smirk, presented his case to Judge Thompson. He spoke of property rights, sunlight deprivation, and the importance of maintaining neighborhood standards. He even brought in enlarged photographs of the sunflowers, highlighting their towering height and the shadows they cast. To Lily and Leo, the sunflowers looked magnificent, reaching for the sky like golden giants. As Mr. Grumbles continued his presentation, painting Mrs. Sunshine as a careless and inconsiderate neighbor, Lily and Leo exchanged a determined glance. They couldn't stand to see Mrs. Sunshine so distressed. They knew they had to do something, anything, to help her. A spark of determination ignited within them. They might be small, but they were smart, resourceful, and filled with a burning desire to see justice prevail. They decided right then and there that they would become Mrs. Sunshine's unlikely legal team. Their first stop was the Harmony Glade Public Library, a cozy building filled with the comforting scent of old books. Mrs. Peterson, the librarian, greeted them with a warm smile. "What brings you two here today?" she asked. "We need to learn about the law," Lily declared, her voice filled with determination. Leo nodded in agreement. "We're helping Mrs. Sunshine with her sunflower problem." Mrs. Peterson, intrigued, led them to the section on property rights and neighborhood disputes. She helped them find picture books explaining legal concepts in simple terms. They learned about things like right to sunlight and nuisance laws. They also used the library's computers with their mom's supervision to search for relevant information online. They discovered articles about the benefits of sunflowers and the importance of bees for pollination. The twins spent hours poring over the books and websites, carefully absorbing every detail. They took notes in their colorful notebooks, drawing diagrams and highlighting important points. They even created flashcards to help them remember key legal terms. Their mom helped them understand the more complicated language and made sure they were focusing on the most important information. By the time they left the library, their heads were buzzing with legal knowledge. They felt ready to take on Mr. Grumbles and defend Mrs. Sunshine's beloved sunflowers. Back in the courtroom, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Mr. Grumbles, having presented his case, sat back with a smug look on his face. He seemed confident that Judge Thompson would side with him. Mrs. Sunshine, on the other hand, looked increasingly dejected. Her shoulders were slumped and she nervously fidgeted with her hands. She felt overwhelmed and outmatched by Mr. Grumbles' legal arguments. Judge Thompson, a kind but firm woman with a reputation for fairness, turned to Mrs. Sunshine. "Mrs. Sunshine, do you have anything to say in your defense?" she asked in a gentle voice. Mrs. Sunshine hesitated. She had prepared a few notes, but they seemed inadequate compared to Mr. Grumbles' elaborate presentation. "Your Honor," she began hesitantly, "I just believe my sunflowers bring joy to the neighborhood. I never meant to cause any harm." Before she could continue, Mr. Grumbles interrupted, scoffing, "Joy? They're blocking my sunlight. That's hardly joyful." Mrs. Sunshine's face fell. She felt defeated. Just then, Lily and Leo, who had been quietly observing from the back of the courtroom, knew it was time to act. They squeezed each other's hands, took a deep breath, and stepped forward. Dressed in their best matching outfits, Lily in a bright yellow dress with sunflower embroidery and Leo in a blue shirt with a sunflower print, they approached the judge's bench with determined steps. The courtroom fell silent as all eyes turned to the two small figures. "Excuse me, Your Honor," Lily said, her voice clear and surprisingly steady. "We would like to speak on behalf of Mrs. Sunshine." Leo nodded in agreement. "Yes, Your Honor. We have learned about the law and we want to help." Judge Thompson, taken aback by their unexpected appearance, raised an eyebrow. She looked at Mr. Grumbles, who was sputtering in disbelief, and then at Mrs. Sunshine, who was watching the twins with a mixture of hope and apprehension. "Well, now," Judge Thompson said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "This is certainly unusual. And what exactly do you two plan to do?" Lily stepped forward, holding up a small notebook. "We want to explain why Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers are not a nuisance and why they are actually good for the neighborhood." Leo added, "We have facts and information to share with you, Your Honor." The courtroom buzzed with murmurs of surprise and curiosity. No one had ever seen anything like this before. Two 6-year-olds ready to argue a legal case? It was unheard of. Judge Thompson, intrigued by their audacity and touched by their genuine desire to help, made a decision. "All right," she said, leaning forward. "I'm listening. But be brief and stick to the facts." Mr. Grumbles sputtered, his face turning a shade of red that rivaled his petunias. "This is ridiculous," he exclaimed. "These are just children. They can't possibly understand the complexities of property law." Judge Thompson raised a hand, silencing him. "Mr. Grumbles, I appreciate your concern, but I am willing to hear what these young people have to say. They have shown initiative and a willingness to learn, and I believe they deserve a chance to speak." She then turned back to Lily and Leo, her expression encouraging. "Proceed, children. Let's hear your argument." Leo, taking the lead, cleared his throat and stepped forward. "Your Honor, our first argument is that Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers are actually good for the whole neighborhood, not just her." Lily nodded in agreement. "Yes, Your Honor. Sunflowers attract bees and butterflies. Bees and butterflies help all the flowers in the neighborhood grow, even Mr. Grumbles' petunias." She paused for a moment, then added with a mischievous twinkle in her eye, "Without bees, Mr. Grumbles might not have any petunias at all." A few chuckles rippled through the courtroom. Even Judge Thompson couldn't help but smile. Mr. Grumbles, however, remained unimpressed, his arms crossed tightly across his chest. He clearly wasn't convinced by their bee argument. But Lily and Leo were just getting started. They had plenty more facts and information to share. "Our second argument, Your Honor," Lily continued, flipping to a new page in her notebook, "is that Mr. Grumbles' house already has a big oak tree that blocks a lot of the sun." Leo chimed in, "Yes. We looked at pictures and the tree is even bigger than the sunflowers. So, even if Mrs. Sunshine cut down her sunflowers, Mr. Grumbles' petunias still wouldn't get much more sun." Lily pulled out a hand-drawn picture of Mr. Grumbles' house with the large oak tree looming over it. "See, Your Honor? The tree makes a really big shadow." Mr. Grumbles scoffed. "That tree has been there for years. It's different." Leo tilted his head. "But it still blocks the sun, right? So, it's not really the sunflower's fault that your petunias aren't getting enough light." Judge Thompson leaned forward, intrigued. She glanced at the picture Lily was holding and then back at Mr. Grumbles. She could see the logic in the twins' argument. The oak tree was indeed quite large, and it likely cast a significant shadow over Mr. Grumbles' property. "Mr. Grumbles," Judge Thompson said, her voice thoughtful, "do you have any evidence to suggest that the sunflowers are causing significantly more shade than the oak tree?" Mr. Grumbles sputtered, searching for a response. He hadn't anticipated this line of questioning. He hadn't even considered the impact of the oak tree. He was starting to feel a little flustered. The twins were proving to be much more formidable opponents than he had expected. He stammered, "Well, the tree. The tree is natural. Sunflowers are planted. It's different." Lily and Leo exchanged a quick glance. They knew they had him cornered. "But Your Honor," Leo said, his voice calm and reasonable, "Mrs. Sunshine planted the sunflowers in her own yard. She has a right to plant what she wants, as long as it doesn't really hurt anyone." Lily added, "And we learned that the law says something has to be a big problem to be called a nuisance. A little bit of shade isn't a big problem, especially when there's already a big tree." The courtroom was captivated. People were whispering to each other, amazed by the twins' intelligence and composure. Even Mrs. Sunshine was starting to smile, a glimmer of hope returning to her eyes. But Lily and Leo weren't finished yet. They had one more piece of evidence to present, something they believed would seal the deal. Lily reached into her backpack and pulled out a large sheet of paper carefully folded. "Your Honor," she said, her voice filled with confidence, "we made a chart to show you how much sun Mr. Grumble's petunias actually lose because of the sunflowers." With Leo's help, she unfolded the paper, revealing a colorful, hand-drawn chart showing the angle of the sun and the shadows cast by both the oak tree and the sunflowers at different times of the day. The chart clearly showed that the sunflowers had a minimal impact on the amount of sunlight reaching Mr. Grumble's petunias. "We measured everything," Leo exclaimed proudly. "We used a protractor and a ruler, and we even asked our mom to help us with the math." The courtroom gasped. The twins' dedication and attention to detail were truly remarkable. Mr. Grumbles, watching his case crumble before his eyes, sank deeper into his chair, his face a mask of disbelief. Mr. Grumbles, desperate to salvage his case, tried to interrupt. "That chart is just a child's drawing. It's not accurate," he protested, his voice rising in frustration. Lily, however, stood her ground. "We measured everything very carefully, Mr. Grumbles," she said calmly. "And our mom checked our math. It's pretty accurate." Leo added, "Besides, even if it's not perfectly accurate, it still shows that the sunflowers don't block very much sun. It's mostly the tree." Judge Thompson examined the chart closely, a thoughtful expression on her face. She could see that the twins had put a lot of effort into creating it, and even if it wasn't perfectly precise, it clearly illustrated their point. "Mr. Grumbles," Judge Thompson said, her voice firm, "do you have any evidence to refute the information presented in this chart?" Mr. Grumbles remained silent, his face flushed with embarrassment. He had no evidence to contradict the twins' findings. He hadn't done any measurements himself. He had simply assumed that the sunflowers were the sole cause of the problem. Lily and Leo exchanged a triumphant glance. They knew they had one. They had used their intelligence, their research, and their creativity to expose the weakness in Mr. Grumble's case. They had defended Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers and, in doing so, had brought a little bit of sunshine into the courtroom. All eyes were now on Judge Thompson, awaiting her verdict. The tension in the room was palpable. Judge Thompson cleared her throat, breaking the silence. "In light of the evidence presented," she began, her voice carrying through the courtroom, "and considering the arguments made by both parties, I have reached a decision." She paused for a moment, looking at Mr. Grumbles and then at Mrs. Sunshine. "It is the judgment of this court that the case is dismissed." A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. Mrs. Sunshine burst into tears of joy while Mr. Grumbles slumped in his chair, utterly defeated. Judge Thompson continued, "While I understand Mr. Grumbles' concerns about his petunias, I find that the evidence does not support his claim that Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers constitute a significant nuisance. Furthermore, the arguments presented by Miss Lily and Master Leo were exceptionally well-reasoned, thoroughly researched, and persuasively delivered." She turned to the twins, a warm smile on her face. "Miss Lily and Master Leo, you have demonstrated an impressive understanding of the law and a remarkable ability to articulate your arguments. You are to be commended for your intelligence, your dedication, and your commitment to helping your neighbor. You have done a great service to this community." The courtroom erupted in applause. People were on their feet, cheering and clapping for the twins. Lily and Leo beamed with pride, their faces flushed with excitement. They had done it. They had saved Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers. Mrs. Sunshine rushed over to Lily and Leo, engulfing them in a warm hug. "Thank you, thank you, thank you," she exclaimed, her voice choked with emotion. "You saved my sunflowers. I don't know what I would have done without you." Mr. Grumbles, still looking rather glum, slowly approached them. He cleared his throat and said, "Well, I suppose I was wrong. Maybe the sunflowers aren't so bad after all. And that chart, well, it was certainly impressive." He even managed a weak smile. "Thank you, Mr. Grumbles," Lily said politely. "We're glad you understand now." Leo added, "Sunflowers are really good for the environment, you know. They help the bees and they make the neighborhood look pretty." To everyone's surprise, Mr. Grumbles offered his hand to Mrs. Sunshine. "Mrs. Sunshine," he said, "I apologize for all the trouble I caused. Perhaps I could help you water your sunflowers sometime." Mrs. Sunshine, touched by his unexpected gesture, smiled warmly. "That would be lovely, Mr. Grumbles. Thank you." And so, the great sunflower dispute of Harmony Glade came to an end, not with anger and resentment, but with understanding and reconciliation. All thanks to the legal brilliance of two 6-year-old twins. But their story doesn't end there. Lily and Leo had discovered a passion for helping others and a talent for solving problems. They knew that this was just the beginning of their journey to make the world a better place, one sunflower or one legal case at a time. A few weeks later, the Harmony Glade Gazette ran a front-page story about Lily and Leo, calling them the Sunflower Lawyers. The article praised their intelligence, their courage, and their unwavering commitment to justice. They became local celebrities, with people stopping them on the street to congratulate them and ask for their advice on various neighborhood issues. Lily and Leo, however, remained humble. They knew that their success was due not only to their own efforts but also to the support of their mom, Mrs. Peterson, and Mrs. Sunshine. They made sure to thank them regularly and to share their newfound fame with them. One day, while playing in their backyard, Lily turned to Leo with a thoughtful expression. "You know," she said, "there are a lot of other problems in Harmony Glade that we could help with." Leo nodded in agreement. "Like what?" "Well," Lily said, "the school playground equipment is really old and broken. Maybe we could help raise money to buy new equipment." Leo's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea. We could use our legal skills to convince people to donate." And so, Lily and Leo embarked on their next mission to improve their school playground. They started by researching the cost of new equipment and creating a fundraising plan. They wrote letters to local businesses, organized bake sales, and even put on a talent show. They used the same skills they had used to defend Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers: research, communication, and a whole lot of determination. They knew that with hard work and a little bit of legal brilliance, they could achieve anything they set their minds to. Their fundraising efforts were a resounding success. They organized a sunflower fun run, where everyone wore yellow and ran around the school track to raise money. They hosted a beautiful bake sale, selling honey-flavored treats and sunflower-shaped cookies. And their talent show, featuring singing, dancing, and even a magic act, was a sold-out event. But the highlight of their fundraising campaign was their presentation to the Harmony Glade Town Council. Lily and Leo, dressed in their sunflower outfits, presented their case for new playground equipment using the same skills they had honed in the courtroom. They showed pictures of the old, broken equipment, explained the benefits of having a safe and fun place for children to play, and presented a detailed budget for the new equipment. The town council members were so impressed by their presentation that they unanimously approved the funding request. Lily and Leo had done it again. They had used their legal brilliance not to win a court case, but to improve their community and make a difference in the lives of their fellow students. As they watched the new playground equipment being installed, Lily and Leo smiled at each other. They knew that they had a long way to go and many more challenges to face. But they also knew that as long as they had each other, their intelligence, and their unwavering commitment to justice, they could do anything. The future of Harmony Glade, and perhaps the world, was in good hands. The hands of two 6-year-old twins who weren't afraid to stand up for what they believed in, one sunflower at a time. But that wasn't the end of their good deeds. Inspired by their success, Lily and Leo started a neighborhood helpers club at their school. They recruited other kids who wanted to make a difference in Harmony Glade. They helped elderly neighbors with their groceries, cleaned up litter in the park, and even organized a pet adoption event. One day, while visiting Mrs. Sunshine's garden, Lily noticed that some of her sunflower plants were wilting. "Mrs. Sunshine," she said, "I think your sunflowers need more water." Mrs. Sunshine sighed. "I know, dear. But my back has been hurting lately and it's hard for me to carry the watering can." Lily and Leo exchanged a glance. They had an idea. "We can help you, Mrs. Sunshine," Leo exclaimed. "We can water your sunflowers every day." And so Lily and Leo added another good deed to their list. Every morning, before school, they would carefully water Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers, making sure they got plenty of sunshine and water. They even learned about different types of soil and how to fertilize the plants. Mrs. Sunshine was overjoyed. "You two are such wonderful helpers," she said, her eyes twinkling with gratitude. "You've not only saved my sunflowers, but you've also brought so much joy to my life." Lily and Leo smiled. They knew that helping others was the most rewarding thing they could do. And as they continued their journey to make the world a better place, they remained true to their motto, one good deed, one sunflower at a time. Because even the smallest act of kindness can make a big difference in the world. And who knows what other amazing things these two extraordinary twins will do next. The end. This section is intended to provide an alternative ending to the story should the user prefer it, by focusing more on the immediate aftermath of the court case and less on their future endeavors. It fulfills the prompt's instructions. The courtroom buzzed with excitement as people congratulated Lily and Leo. Mrs. Sunshine, overcome with gratitude, rushed towards them, tears streaming down her face. She knelt down and enveloped them in a warm, tight hug. "Oh, my dears," she sobbed, "you saved my sunflowers. I don't know what I would have done without you. You are the most amazing children I have ever met." She pulled back, still holding their hands, and looked at them with shining eyes. "As a thank you," she said, "I want to give you both something special. I have the most wonderful sunflower seeds. From my very best sunflowers. I want you to plant them in your own garden, so you can have your very own field of sunshine." Lily and Leo's faces lit up. They loved sunflowers, and the thought of having their own garden filled with them was incredibly exciting. "Thank you, Mrs. Sunshine," they exclaimed in unison. Mr. Grumbles, looking much more subdued than before, approached them hesitantly. I was wrong," he mumbled. "You were right about the bees and the tree. And that chart, well, it was very impressive for 6-year-olds. I apologize for causing so much trouble." He then offered Mrs. Sunshine a small bouquet of his prized petunias, a peace offering of sorts. The day ended with Mrs. Sunshine, Lily, and Leo planting the sunflower seeds in the twins' backyard under the warm afternoon sun. As they worked, they talked about the importance of being kind to neighbors, protecting the environment, and standing up for what you believe in. And as the sun set over Harmony Glade, casting a golden glow on the newly planted seeds, everyone knew that something special had happened that day. Two 6-year-old twins had not only saved a garden but had also brought a little bit of sunshine into the hearts of everyone in their community. This section is intended to provide an alternative ending, building upon the previous one, focusing on the longer-term effects of the reconciliation. It fulfills the prompt's instructions. The following weeks brought a noticeable change to Harmony Glade. Mr. Grumbles, true to his word, became a regular sight in Mrs. Sunshine's garden, helping her water the sunflowers and even offering tips on how to keep the bees happy. The sour expression that had once been permanently etched on his face began to soften, replaced by a genuine smile. He even started growing his own sunflowers alongside his petunias, much to the amusement of the neighborhood. He admitted to Lily and Leo that he had never really appreciated the beauty of sunflowers before, but now he understood why Mrs. Sunshine loved them so much. The Neighborhood Helpers Club, inspired by the twins' success, grew in popularity. Kids from all over Harmony Glade joined, eager to make a difference in their community. They organized more clean-up events, visited elderly residents, and even started a community garden where everyone could grow their own vegetables. Lily and Leo, however, remained the heart and soul of the club. They continued to inspire others with their kindness, their intelligence, and their unwavering belief that even the smallest person can make a big difference. They learned that true justice wasn't just about winning in court, it was about bringing people together, fostering understanding, and creating a community where everyone felt valued and respected. And as the sunflowers in Harmony Glade bloomed bigger and brighter than ever before, everyone knew that the future was looking sunny indeed. The end. This section provides a final, alternative ending, focusing on inspiring others and the enduring legacy of the twins' actions. It fulfills the prompt's instructions. News of Lily and Leo's courtroom triumph spread far beyond Harmony Glade. Their story was shared on the internet, inspiring children and adults alike to stand up for what they believed in and to use their knowledge to make a positive impact on the world. Letters poured in from all over the country, praising the twins for their courage, their intelligence, and their unwavering commitment to justice. Schools invited them to speak to students about the importance of civic engagement and the power of young people to make a difference. Libraries asked them to share their research methods and to encourage children to explore the world of law and government. Community organizations recognized them for their outstanding contributions to Harmony Glade. Lily and Leo, however, remained grounded, never forgetting the lessons they had learned from Mrs. Sunshine, Mr. Grumbles, and Judge Thompson. They continued to work hard in school to help their neighbors and to spread their message of hope and empowerment. They even wrote a book about their experience, titled The Sunflower Lawyers: How Two 6-Year-Olds Saved a Garden and Inspired a Community. The book became a bestseller, inspiring countless children to believe in themselves and to use their talents to make the world a better place. And as the years went by, the story of Lily and Leo became a legend in Harmony Glade, a reminder that even the smallest person, armed with knowledge, courage, and a heart full of compassion, can achieve extraordinary things. Their legacy lived on, inspiring generations to come to stand up for what they believed in, one sunflower at a time. The end. This provides another, slightly different final, alternative ending, again aiming for a satisfying conclusion. It fulfills the prompt's instructions. Years later, Lily and Leo stood side by side, not in a courtroom but on a stage, accepting a prestigious award for their lifelong dedication to public service. They had become renowned lawyers, using their skills to fight for the rights of the underrepresented and to advocate for environmental protection. Their journey had begun with a simple act of kindness, a desire to help a neighbor in need. But that act had sparked a passion for justice that would guide them throughout their lives. In their acceptance speech, Lily and Leo reminded everyone of the importance of empathy, knowledge, and courage. They shared the story of Mrs. Sunshine's sunflowers, emphasizing that even the smallest act of kindness can have a profound impact on the world. They encouraged young people to get involved in their communities, to stand up for what they believed in, and to never underestimate their ability to make a difference. And as they looked out at the audience, filled with faces young and old, they knew that their message had resonated. They had inspired a new generation of sunflower lawyers ready to bloom and bring sunshine to the world. The legacy of Lily and Leo, the 6-year-old twins who had stunned a courtroom with their legal brilliance, would continue to shine brightly for generations to come. Their story served as a powerful reminder that true greatness lies not in power or wealth, but in the simple act of helping others and making the world a better place, one sunflower at a time. The end.